Homeboy, throw in the towel. Your girl got dick by Ricky Powell. It's going off. With Rap Critic and Muse, R.I.P. Ricky Powell. Alternatively, I wanted to say something to the effect of like, you know the song Spiderwebs? I was gonna say something to the effect of like...
the yarn balls, that one.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about, I'm too busy culturally appropriating, leave a message and I'll call you back. Something like that. Well, first of all, how are you doing? I meant to ask.
I'm doing all right, you know. Winter holiday vacationing time is over, so now it's time to, you know, get back to work, you know what I'm saying? Time to get busy.
Back home safe and sound.
Yeah, and I'm, you know, trying to get better at scheduling shit in the new year to just kind of like get on my shit, you know?
What better way to start the year off by loudly declaring that you are Japanese when,
oh man,
by all accounts, I would debate that.
Yo, what in the world? Like, I was like, you know when you're reading something and you have to do that blink double take when you're like really processing what the controversy is? You're like, oh. Like, so, yeah, just to let you guys know.
To fill y'all in, if y'all haven't heard about this one, this has actually kind of been a thing for a minute that people have been talking about.
Oh, sure.
But Gwen hasn't formally addressed it till now, I don't think.
She says, what is the specific wording she says? She says,
I am Japanese.
Yes, he says, I am, you know.
You know. I need to hear the inflection. If it's, I'm Japanese, you know, that's like conversational. If it's, I'm Japanese, you know, then that's more like she's trying to teach us a thing or two. And I don't know if I believe that one 100%.
She's talking to this Asian interviewer, by the way.
That's rough. Yeah.
That's the thing that just like adds that just brought it into full relief as I could see the Arrested Development type moment unfolding. Like, you know, it's like, this is her saying, that was my Japanese influence, and that was a culture that was so rich with tradition, yet so futuristic with so much attention to art and detail and discipline, and it was fascinating to me, she said, explaining how her father, who's an Italian-American, would return with stories of street performers cosplaying as Elvis and stylish women with colorful hair. Then, as an adult, she was able to travel to Harajuku to see them herself. I said, my God, I'm Japanese and I didn't know it. As those words seemed to hang in the air between us, she continued, I am, you know. She then explained that there is innocence to her relationship with Japanese culture, referring to herself as a super fan. It's just like,
look, just because your dad's Italian and they were part of the axis of evil with Japan in World War II isn't close enough to make you Japanese, Gwen. That's not enough DNA there.
Like, just the fact that she's specifically in front of this Asian person's face, because they're Pacific Islander, I believe, but still, you know what I mean? Like, had the nerve to do that. Oh, I am, you know. Please acknowledge this. It's like, oh, what are you doing?
What I saw was the tweet thread from Variety starting, Stefani was first visiting Japan's Harajuku district. I said, my God, I'm Japanese. I didn't even know it, you know. According to Allure magazine, Stefani asserted twice she was Japanese and a little bit of a Japanese girl during the interview. That feels redundant. But she then goes on to say, because now she feels like, you know, there's pushback, now I gotta get defensive. If people are going to criticize me for being a fan of something beautiful and sharing that, then I just think that doesn't feel right. It should be okay to be inspired by other cultures, because if we're not allowed, then that's dividing people, right?
Not what people are critiquing you for. They're critiquing you because you're saying that you're fucking the vapors over here. You're saying that you would turn to Japanese in no fucking way.
You're not a fucking weeb, Gwen. There's a difference. I'm an otaku, you know. No, you're not. You hired, and I don't even know how well you paid them. I've heard differing stories on that one. A group of women to follow you around, not look you in the eye, and not ever say anything. That's fucking weird, Gwen.
You're right. Yeah.
Like, if Gwen just took a second and acknowledged that it was fucking weird, but the fact that she's doubling down on this, like,
yeah, it's the double down that makes you go like, oh no, oh you're planted in a certain way of thinking, and you were, and we just didn't ask hard enough before, and now we're realizing.
It's like 20 years later, Gwen. Are you still Are you still digging your heels in that shit you did 20 fucking years ago?
Well, are you part Indian too? Because remember the Bindi thing?
Bindi!
Are you that? Or did you abandon that? And here's my thing. It's like, when it comes to I was saying to you earlier, I was like, I could understand saying like, hey, I've become so like, living here is so nice for me, and like really loving the people and appreciate, like, is the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation, right?
Yeah.
Like appreciation is like, I love this so much, it feels like a bit of my heart is here. Like, that's fine. But saying, I am this identity, it's like, what are you doing? She's just so stuck in that 90s mentality of like, I like this thing. It's fine for me to like do it. I don't have to think about putting on the Native American headdress. What? It's just for a fashion shoot. Like, you know what I mean? It's that sort of like, I'm not like saying a slur. Like, what? I like the thing. Like, it's okay for me to play around with it. And it's like one of those things where it's like, please just listen to what people are saying. Like I said, you can hear the way she's talking, that she's talking around the real criticism, which is that like, no, you said you're a Japanese person. No, you're not.
I think we're long overdue for a Blake Shelton, Gwen Stefani racist Halloween couple costume picture to come out. I'm surprised we haven't seen one by now. Like, who is that? Did Reese Witherspoon do that? Someone did the Native American cowboy couple picture. It was like a pretty big celebrity, and people were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I don't know for sure if it was Reese Witherspoon or not. It was some blonde woman.
It's right on the tip. Yeah, you're right on. It's right on the tip.
They all look the same to me. All blonde actresses look the same. They're all Reese Witherspoon. I can't discern.
What? Who's the latest one? It's something Hendrix, right? Is she the latest one?
I thought about Anna Kendricks.
Christina Hendricks.
Christina Hendricks.
Are these different people?
She's playing at Woodstock. She's lighting a guitar on fire.
Wait, am I not? Is there not something?
Well, she is a redhead for one.
Oh, my man.
I mean, it's not like she's here. I don't think she's going to take offense to you getting her hair color wrong. But yeah,
Anna Kendrick and Christina Hendrick. But Margot Robbie is my girl, okay? That's the one I know, all right? That's my one.
Christina is a 47-year-old redhead, and we're like, who's the young blonde on the scene? Making big waves, taking Hollywood by storm.
It's just the names.
I don't even think Anna Kendrick is blonde either.
No.
No, she is not. She has brown hair. She's a brunette.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's. I'll let you try that one more time.
What? I'm trying to think of some other than Margot Robbie. I really can't.
Margot Robbie. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on! I've seen a lot of movies.
Margot
There's gotta
Robbie.
be.
Well, she is blonde. She's only 32. That's younger.
I don't keep that much in touch with who's like the hot movie stars right now. Like I had a moment where I realized like, oh wait, Brad Pitt is like a past movie star, right? Like
Brad Pitt's like fucking 60 now. I don't know how fucking old he is.
Yeah, right. Like 2009 was the last time it's like, here is Brad Pitt, the actor, not the legacy actor at this point in a new movie. You know what I mean? Like,
wow. Okay. I was just guessing about Brad Pitt. He does turn 60 this year.
Wow, look at that.
Wow. Folks, we've got quite the stacked show.
Right.
We've got 2 reviewer requests.
Yeah, and we're going off as we usually do, you know?
Or reviewer suggestions, I don't know. Me and RC and I have both brought an album of our own to the show to talk about, and we didn't want to leave out the listeners, the people on our Ko-fi out entirely. That is ko-fi.com/goinoff, where you can request an album to be reviewed on a future episode. We wanted to get a listener request in there also. So this week for you, we got the listener request, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath by Black Sabbath, from
Dr. Goatman.
I didn't even mean that as a dramatic pause. There was a loud car outside and it scared me for a second. But thank you. RC is bringing a hip-hop classic to the table.
Yes, I specifically wanted to do it because, their music's apparently is coming to streaming for the first fucking time because much of it is tied up in sampling and shit. But someone was able to do it for the Beastie Boys, but not them, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We're talking 3 Feet High and Rising by De La Soul, and I remembered because we talked about this a while ago, and I distinctly remember you saying something to the effect of like, hadn't heard Paul's Boutique all the way through, so I was like, is that still the case? Have you still not heard that yet? So I was like, okay.
And
I thought we needed to change that.
Or are these both from 1989?
Probably. I would imagine so. Or are they not? Or are they?
I think so, and I don't think we did that. We didn't do that on purpose. I was thinking originally to do like, maybe we should do one of their later albums just because it's like, I know they get better with time, but then I was like, but this is kind of like the one that started it all. This is the one we want to have out there to be like hey, let's talk about the first one everyone's going to be jumping to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you suggested this one, I was like, oh yeah, Paul's Boutique and I was like, wait, no, but isn't that other album from the Beastie Boys from this year? No, it was this one? I was like, oh, well, all right, I guess the year 1989 is the number.
Another summer.
Get down.
Should we start with Sabbath?
I say we start with Sabbath, yeah, because that's the shortest one. That does make the most
sense. Yeah, that's true. We did both happen to pick long fucking rap albums. I don't know. So we're talking Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. I'm not too terribly familiar with Sabbath, and I've never really listened to a Sabbath album the whole way through. None of them. I know I'm going to get hate for that.
Man, Beavis and Butthead are going to have to come on here and call you a dillo.
Oh. No, I don't think that's necessary. But this is a, not later, but I think it's like their 4th or something album. And
apparently this is the one where they first started really getting like praise from critics or something.
Well, it's definitely the one that's a bit more of a deviation from just like straightforward heavy metal. You got fucking Moog synthesizers on here. Like,
yeah,
they're actually trying some different shit. Artsy, I'm gonna throw it over to you first. I'm curious what your feelings on this album were.
Look, I came to like I said, I'm not the person who's listened to these classical rock joints as much. I'm more of a Surface fan. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the hits, I can remember those all day. Crazy Train, I got you.
Iron Man.
Yeah. But when it comes to like the nitty gritty, I was just like, I'm just not acquainted. I just kind of associated like, it's the Beavis and Butthead. It's just like songs about death and blood and something, like with a guy with an epic high voice. You know what I'm saying? I'm just expecting that like stereotype, whatever. And man, can I tell you, when I listened to this album, I was just so fucking taken aback by just how much I enjoyed the musicality of what was happening on this fucking thing. Oh no, were you not feeling it as much?
No.
I thought you were hitting the
No, I was genuinely surprised. Also, I thought this album was way better than I expected it to be, only because I don't really hear people talk about Sabbath Bloody Sabbath as much as the other ones.
Yeah, like, I just know them as the legacy of those are the guys with this album cover, just looks like what I'm supposed to expect, right? Like, it's
the cover is incredible.
Gothic, like 666.
But yeah, this was way more diverse than I thought it was going to be. Definitely showing their range on here. I did, however, think that if I gotta throw some criticism its way, that the first half, we're talking Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, A National Acrobat, Fluff, and Sabra Cadabra. I think those are just almost flawless banger after banger after banger after banger. Side 2, I wasn't as big on. We're talking Killing Yourself to Live, Who Are You, Looking for Today, and Spiral Architect. I thought Who Are You and Looking for Today were the weaker cuts on the album, especially compared to the first side, which I thought were like almost flawless 5s for all 4 cuts, honestly. I thought those were incredible.
As I'm looking at it, I don't know. I think I enjoyed the way the music and the lyrics and the imagery kind of like sucked me in as it got further into the aesthetic. I'm looking at my ratings. I actually think I ended up liking the later tracks even more. Now, it's just interesting how it starts off though, right? Like, you know, with the very first track, it doesn't like hit as hard as I was expecting it to hit. Maybe I was expecting like 80s metal or something like that, but my brain was just like, this feels a little like chilled out a little bit more than I was expecting. You know what I mean?
It wasn't thrashy. It was more like sludgy doom kind of like.
Not as sludgy, you know what I mean? There's a certain tempo to it that doesn't necessarily have it just to be in the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has some kick to it, has some pep to it. And the lyrics are just so interesting. Like, the poetry in this is just like, I was actually really thrown off by how it was just like, oh, wow. Like, because it's a kiss-off song, it's like a fuck the hater song, but it doesn't really come off like that. It's not like a Korn type, you know, fuck you, I'm gonna put you in the face, you know, like.
Yeah, it's funny. This song is, and I'll quote here, according to bassist Geezer Butler, who I think wrote most of the lyrics, if not all of them.
Yeah, and what a name.
The song is about the Sabbath experience, the ups and the downs, the good times, the bad times, the rip-offs, the business side of all of it. It was a backs-to-the-wall rant at everyone who tried to cash in on Black Sabbath, especially lawyers. So yeah, this definitely is a fuck the hater song, but we did just recently hear that Pantera song that I think did it so much worse. The
yes,
fuck you, wow,
for you, MTV.
Oh yeah, what does Ozzy got to? Oh wait, he has a fucking reality show on there. He's probably not gonna say anything. Yeah, but I mean, especially the chorus. Nobody will ever let you know when you ask the questions why. They all just tell you that you're on your own. Fill your head all full of lives, you bastards. When he fucking yells, you bastards! It's like, oh like, shit.
Yeah, this doesn't come across as like, ooh, I'm doing a, you know, demonic version of Pink Floyd, you know, like we're doing religiously. It's like, this is actually pretty down to earth and understanding of like, I can understand kids being into this and be like, yeah, man, no one really tells us what the fuck is going on. They just like fucking fill us with bullshit. Like, I totally get why teenagers were fucking hype on this shit and why the parents were fucking pissed off, why they were secretly actually pissed off and acting like it was about, it's because of the demonic imagery. It's like, bitch, he barely says anything about any demons or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like,
this is a very oddly optimistic album for
honestly
heavy metal from the fucking late 70s. Like, I was definitely expecting more dark, especially like you said with the cover and everything. Yeah, you definitely go in thinking it's going to be more like, ooh, it's like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Oh, what's this about?
I'm the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. You know, so
yeah, it's not even that, but I got to. I mean, everyone deserves credit here, but Geezer with the fucking lyrics and Ozzy, oh my god.
His voice, it's such an epic tenor wail to it. Oh my god, it's so commanding.
Ozzy has an incredible fucking voice. I don't think, like, if you just hear the hits, I don't think he really does.
Yeah, it doesn't do it justice.
Even solo tracks like Crazy Train, he doesn't really have it going on there. But yeah, just listen to some of these and the high notes he hits on here, like especially on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, hitting the fucking high notes is wow. Holy shit. And we're talking just epic classic riffs on just like every one of these cuts.
Yeah. Oh.
But the way this song switches up from the just to just like the really sweet softer guitars during the chorus, and then just like the seamless transition back to the riffs, and there's a sick instrumental break. Oh god, it's absolutely so good, man. Incredible opening track. I think a National Acrobat almost as good.
You're right. Yeah.
It's got some really interesting stuff in there that I wasn't necessarily expecting. In particular, there's a sort of funky guitar switch up.
I was just thinking, I was like, there's a little tinge of funk going on with the and I was like, oh, okay.
There was that, and then it switched up again to where I wouldn't even categorize this as metal at towards the end of the song.
Where it has like, it kind of goes into like a positive major kind of sound, and it feels like you're like sliding on the guitar and shit. Like, I was like, what was that?
And you know I gotta shout out the bongos. Whenever I hear bongos in songs that I'm not expecting them, whoa, this fucking
They
song
add a
rips.
texture. They really do.
Yeah, and especially like the lyrics. I quoted this too, another Geezer quote. The lyrics describe the thoughts of an unborn child. In the end, the lyrics give some general advice about life itself. As we were all born, we should live our lives to the fullest. A national acrobat was just me thinking about who selects what sperm gets through to the egg.
Satan was hardly ever conjured up in our lyrics, and when he was, it wasn't in the religious sense, but in the sense that Satan was alive and well, and the people who govern us and manipulate us and kill us in their wars. And it's just like, holy shit, like, there's so much more going on that these parents that just look at an image and then just go like, it's demonic. It's like, bitch, they're trying to tell your kids about the world, like, and you're not listening because, well, you said demon.
And it's like, you're not doing it. Someone has
right.
to. If it's gonna be Ozzy and Geezer, let them fucking do it. Speaking of shit you wouldn't exactly expect, going into fluff.
Can I tell you, I was like just having this moment where I was like, oh man, not only is this like, hey, you know, this is actually more respectable, right? It's not like necessarily the Alice Cooper spit at the teacher, you know what I mean? Like,
There really isn't the shock element here, you know?
You know, it's more like, whoa, this is actual like working man's rock sort of like lyricism, you know what I mean? And then, but it's like, but it still has a hard edge to it. And then when it gets to fluff, and it's just a slight, stairway to heaven, like, I was like, oh. Like, it's like when you expected like this roller coaster where you're gonna have all this twists and turns, but all of a sudden you're just like floating, and it's like, well, I guess this is pleasant too, but I just wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, it says this instrumental piece was named after DJ Alan Fluff Freeman. He was one of the few people on the radio who would play Black Sabbath songs.
That's awesome.
And the song is goddamn beautiful. Like,
yeah, but it's like they've got to be knowing they're doing this on purpose. Like the irony of like, hey guys, on track 3, let's just do this. And it's just like you got to see Ozzy sitting there, just like casually like drinking a bottle of water, just letting the music play, you know.
And I love that it's not at the end of side 1 either. Like it
Right.
still comes back with Sabracadabra, so you still end the side with a fucking kick-ass tune.
Oh, for sure,
my
yeah.
God.
Oh man, Sabracadabra, yo. And I love the bright synths with the crunchy bluesy beat mixed with it. Oh man.
Yeah, man.
That was kicking.
Again, there are 2 aspects of this that were, again, very unexpected for me. One, Rick Wakeman of Yes coming in with a fucking Moog solo.
Is that it?
According to the Genius article, he was recording something, he was bored, he called up Black Sabbath and was like, hey, what are y'all doing? And he's like, oh, you want to come over and hear what we're doing? He's like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. So he played Sabracadabra for him, and Rick was like, this is pretty good. And someone, it might have been Geezer, was like, hey, you know, I've been tinkering around on the piano a little bit here. I don't really have too much going on here, because he had this like synthesizer that he was just kind of tooling around with. He wasn't too knowledgeable on it. So he's just kind of hitting some notes, and Rick is like, let me try something. And he does something, and they're just like, holy shit, that's great. Can we use that? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And they're like, how much should we pay you? And he's like, just get me a fucking drink. I don't care. So it's like, was he not even fucking paid for this? Because Jesus.
And it adds such an extra texture, yeah. It's just like, whoa, we just zapped into a different galaxy. Wait.
The Moog adds so much. Ozzy has this, like, warbled vocals going on. There's whammy guitar in the intro. There's affected vocal bits towards the end that almost, to me, sounded like hip-hop record scratches. You know what I'm talking about?
I was just like, huh?
Yeah, I
Like,
couldn't tell what that
was.
was. And then on top of all that, they have this fucking piano shit that was adding so much swag to the song.
Yes.
This album
Oh my
fucks
God.
so hard,
Yeah,
man.
I was just like, wait, how has this not been sampled by someone? Hold on.
And again, another quote from Geezer on this one. Ozzy's original lyrics were based on a sex tape we'd been listening to in the studio where we were recording. They'd been recording English voiceovers for a German porno. Unfortunately, I changed them to a more acceptable version. He says unfortunately. So even here, Geezer admits Ozzy's lyrics were better. That they were about this German porn they were watching.
Wow. I do understand as I'm looking at my ratings, tracks 5 and 6 I don't like as much as tracks 7 and 8.
Oh,
but
okay.
I do think that they are the closes are so freaking good. But just getting through the first two, Killing Yourself to Live, like my problem with these is that it just feels like it just needed one more verse in each one or just something like that. Because like with the Who Are You, it just felt like it didn't really bring it home. And I kind of felt like one of these two tracks kind of felt like track 1 again. It had a similar groove to it where I was just like, hey, wait a minute. I kind of feel like we already did this one. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny. When I heard the second track, I almost thought, hey, this kind of sounds like the last song. It's just how the songs start. It was like a very similar riff to open.
Because, tracks 5 and 6, they're cool, but it just felt like they don't... Because, like, the way it ends with, it was just like, I only have one more question before my time is through. Please, I beg you, tell me, in the name of hell, who are you? And it's like, that's just not that big of a, like, you know what I mean? Like, thing to close on.
It wasn't
like,
a big payoff. Really.
Yeah. But Looking for Today... Man, that one just hit for me. Especially with the Looking Forward to That when it just brought that ringer of a hook back at the end. I was just like, I am on board. Like I had that exact same feeling I got from Sunless Saturday from that Fishbone track. You know what I mean? Where it was just like, holy shit, how is this not on rock radio constantly?
Don't delay. You're in today, but tomorrow is another dream. Sunday's star is Monday's scar. Out of date before you're even seen. At the top so quick to flop. You're so new, but rotting in decay. Like butterflies so quick to die, but you're only looking for today. Like, oof.
Man, it's just like I said, this isn't just like doomy gloom. This is actually like peeking into the soul of the man, you know, like.
Killing Yourself to Live. It says, that Geezer wrote it while in the hospital for kidney problems caused by heavy drinking, although Bill Ward was also heavily drinking, so the refrain talks about sex, drugs, rock and roll that they were living, killing themselves day by day because of the drugs, but it was the only way to live with the constant tours and loneliness of the rock star life. This has a more obscure meaning for Geezer, who was also a depressed person, so drugs were really his unique option to stay alive. Like, geez, man. So much depth here. And that one has the fucking bluesy switch up at the end, too. I had to quote that out. And it has the Moog on it again. Geezer loved that fucking synth. He loved the synth.
Oh,
and there was a
man.
synth opening on Who Are You also. I was like, ooh, what's going on here?
But on Looking for Today, there's I think it's the hook, the bridge where he says, everyone just gets on top of you. The pain begins to eat your pride. You can't believe in anything you knew. When was the last time that you cried? It was just the way it comes out is just so like, holy fuck. Like that's gotta be imagine the person hearing that for the first time, you know, and all the shielded masculinity that you have to carry on in the 70s. And then a man just saying, yo, bro, when's the last time you cried? It's just like
it hits different to me because our other podcast we're doing, Own a Detox podcast, there's a big narrative in that podcast about one person in particular just outwardly saying crying is gay and crying and all these like emotions or whatever, but he talks about like, oh yeah, I cried all the time when I was a kid, and when eventually like one of the hosts is like, dude, when's the last time you cried? And he literally said like it was like 20-something years ago. It's like, oh my god,
man, no.
What? It was ridiculous. It was such a moment of just like, what the fuck is happening here? So yeah, it reminded me of that. We end the album really strong too. Great orchestration going on in this one.
I'm telling you, I could see the spiraling towers going up as the like violins were like playing all around on the hook. It's just like, oh my god, I'm telling you.
The album definitely deserved the round of applause from the live audience at the end of the album.
It was like, you bastards, but you know you deserved it. And they didn't even end it right exactly on that too. It's like the drums came back in a little bit, so like, come see us live and you can hear some more, you know, like that sort of like, and now here's a little extra for the people who stay, you know.
Someone needs to be throwing flowers on the stage. Like,
right? Oh my god.
Yo, take a fucking bow, Ozzy. God damn.
Jesus Christ. Can I just say, cool ass imagery alert. Superstitious century, didn't time go slow, separating sanity, watching children grow, syncopated undertakers, spiral skies, silver ships on plasmic oceans in disguise. I was just like, what the fuck?
Damn. Dude, we're not fucking around on this one.
This motherfucker just flashed me to the future. And of course, now my ass, I'm thinking, oh, is it like, you know, like in the future where there's like, I don't know, acidic oceans we have to go through. It's like, it's that sort of things where he's talking about. He's like, no, it was about drugs, but it was like,
well, you know.
you know that Gorillaz thing where it's always like, is it about this deeper abstract thing? No, it's just drugs, but you know, you can take it how you want.
You know.
But just being able to layer, like, this is that cool drug talk where it's like, holy shit, I wouldn't have thought to say it like that. You know what I mean? That's how you write a drug lyric, goddammit.
What did you get?
I have to give it a 5. I gotta give it that shining 5, my friend.
I came out with my exact score was a 4.3. I'm gonna round it up to a 4.5. I can't give it the 5, but it's damn close. I'm already looking to buy a copy because this was really fucking good.
I say Beastie Boys next.
The Beasties? Okay.
De La's last because they're the guests of honor in this modern age where they're coming back. They're coming back on streaming platforms.
We actually have a reason for talking about them. We don't really have a reason for talking about Paul's Boutique aside from the fact that I think, and I usually think words like this get thrown around too much and they lose their meaning. I gotta say, I think Paul's Boutique is one of the greatest rap albums ever made. I think it's up there with just about any other one you could name. This has such re-listenability for me, and the goddamn Dust Brothers on the production, every fucking song, they have so many memorable moments, like all the fucking sampling. I think
that explains so fucking much.
I think I've mentioned before that people consider this, or like if you actually take into account all the samples, it would be one of the most expensive rap albums to ever make with all the fucking shit that they sampled on here, but times were different, so you can get away with that shit. So there's a song on here that is nothing but samples of Beatles songs, and you would never fucking get away with that. But then you fucking look at License to Ill, and that album was like nothing but Zeppelin samples.
Yeah.
So it's like people were not fucking telling them no. Like they just weren't asking.
And I think people just didn't understand what was happening when they were doing what they were doing.
No, yeah, I don't think so.
Which, hey, you know, take advantage of the moment. Fuck it.
Oh, absolutely. Let fucking Biz Markie take the fall on this
right?
one.
Oh, man, that's so cold the way they did him.
Just when he was getting started, just when he was fucking picking up some steam, getting some heat, Gilbert O'Sullivan has to pop his head out. No.
It wasn't even the fucking hit song. Yeah, it was like...
Fucking asshole. It's like, well, I'm not getting royalties on this, so I fucking better get something out of it. I already hyped it up, and I have a feeling you might knock me down to size. What did you think about Paul's Boutique?
I have to say that this is the most unappetizing, disgusting... No, I completely the opposite. It was like the thing where it's like, hey, I've always been a surface fan of the Beastie Boys. You know, I love the hits. I love the sabotage. I love the, you know what I'm saying? I love the, you gotta fight. I love these tracks, but like, I've just never taken the time to listen to a full, you know, album. So like, I would always hear people go like, oh man, Beastie Boys are whacked up. And it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I can't act like when I hear their songs, I'm not like hearing half the time them saying like weird random Family Guy like non sequiturs, you know. But it was a thing where it's like, but because their energy is so fun, it's like, I mean, you know, the mileage varies certainly from track to track, but it's like, in a general sense, you're just so enjoying their energy that it's like it really doesn't matter. And so now, like, especially from, you know, you hear their transition from like the earlier stuff when it's just like the 80s B-boy stuff, and then like my reputation for them, right, is knowing them as those guys who were able to make that such a natural transition, right, while still being them, but being experimental and going into this new age and, you know, doing like always being them, but, you know, always sort of evolving, so it never feels like, hey, isn't that group from the 80s? You know what I mean? Like it feels like, oh, that's of course the Beastie Boys, that legacy group. You know what I mean?
I think it is funny that you mentioned that, because when you look at License to Ill and you think about what they were like on tour, what they were like in interviews at the time, if you go back and you look, they are just the biggest assholes on tour. They're just trolling everybody. They're pissing people off.
Yeah, isn't the idea that they're doing it was all a persona to be like, oh, we're doing the frat guy, but it's like, not really parody because they're just doing it, but, you know.
We're gonna be 10 times more obnoxious and in your face, and we're just gonna have a giant dick on stage as part of our stage setup. It's just a giant dick coming out of a box as we open for Madonna. Yeah, this is gonna go over really well.
Wow.
And you look at that album and just how sophomoric that whole album is and how it's just like, ugh. And then you look at the other album that we actually reviewed on the show before, Ill Communication.
Oh, man.
Where there's the line straight up where it's like, where they give a shout out to women, and it's like, hey, y'all, you gotta respect women because,
There's like a rap about his Buddhism and stuff like that. Like,
it's like,
whoa.
Look at the journey.
Not even 10 years, like.
Right. And here is the middle ground where they're not as obnoxious and rude and annoying.
Right,
that high nasal voice on License to Ill, that's gone. We don't really hear that as much anymore. Would you believe it that Capitol made a big fuck deal about this album? They fucking went all out. They held a big party on the roof of the building. This
album sounds like a fucking party.
Yeah, they're like, this is gonna be fucking huge. All of you have been waiting so fucking long, 2 years, for a new Beastie Boys album. Y'all have been clamoring. And that one, if you remember, was the Def Jam Rick Rubin production. And now they've broken free of Rick Rubin, and apparently he was an asshole. They were fucking robbing their pockets. They weren't letting them see nearly as much of the money as they should have. So the boys are free to do whatever the fuck they want. And they're gonna put their whole fucking Beastie Pussies into this one, guys. People could not fucking wait. And this album did so fucking bad, and all the critics hated it. It just about sunk them. It about ruined and ended their fucking careers because the label had such high hopes. They inflated their expectations for this album so fucking high, and then it just did dog shit numbers. Nobody wanted this. They wanted License to Ill 2. This was not it. And people were fucking mad. People were just like, what the fuck is this? Now it's one of these albums, though, that is notorious to where it was an album that, like, reviewers and magazines shit on relentlessly, saying it was, like, the worst follow-up, that now those same publications are putting it in, like, top 10 tier lists and stuff like that, because over time they've looked back on it and they have more of an appreciation for it.
And you're able to see it in its place in regards to like what it influenced, I
had a completely different experience. My experience with the Beastie Boys was I was in high school and I was doing radio, and someone in one of the stereo systems had left one of the discs of one of the Beastie Boys compilations.
Ooh.
And I just stole it. I didn't know who fucking put it in there or what, but I stole it and I listened to it and eventually ended up buying, the whole set so I could hear more of it. So I've been fucking with the Beastie Boys since like my mid-teens, and they were really the first rap group I got into in a big way because, I've told the story before. As a white kid, rap is a genre. When you're young, it can be a little intimidating, So you look for the easy ins. Eminem is there, but he was doing his thing, and by this time he was kind of already doing Ass Like That, and I wasn't really fucking with that. Yeah. So where am I gonna go? Oh, what are the fucking Beasties doing? And then I heard that album, and I heard fucking Paul's Boutique, and since then, I've been saying, wow, fucking Paul's Boutique is one of the strongest, best rap albums I've ever heard. And even after all this time, after 300 episodes we've been doing this show, reviewing rap albums, I'm still sitting here going, you know what? I'd still take Paul's Boutique over just about a vast majority of them. Like, there are some standouts that are like, oh, well, you know, it's not as good as that. But, dude, man, I don't know. Something about... Because, like I said before, sometimes the production is enough that even if the songs aren't the strongest lyrically, they're such a fucking vibe. They bop so fucking hard.
Right.
Like, y'all could be saying anything.
It's just like this hangout movie, like this plotless sort of like, hey, we're going over here hanging with these motherfuckers, and then we're going over here hanging with these motherfuckers, and wait, who the fuck is that guy? Yo, it's the homeless dude, and it just feels like so naturally like, you know, just like, yo, we're hanging out in Brooklyn. This is what Brooklyn's really like, motherfucker. We're going to hang out and we might get into a fist fight or something like that. But, you know, that's just living in the city. You know, it's just like the ups and the downs. It's just like, so just like, welcome to New York for real, for real. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the tourist album. This is the actually visiting your cousin and seeing the real New York, you know? Like,
yeah, it really does give you a taste.
On certain tracks where it feels like the energy kind of runs out and it's just like, okay, where are we going with this? But there's other tracks where it's just so manages that hypeness in a way where it's just like, I don't give a fuck, just keep going. Going to track one. Well, there's the intro, the fucking weird ass. I hated that intro. That so like did not prep me for what was gonna happen. I was just like, oh god,
it goes on
Beastie
for
Boys.
so long.
Yeah, and all the different types of girls, to the Indian girls, to the Jamaican girls, the Italian girls, and it was like, and at one point I literally said, this is actually going to be my intro. I was going to go like, oh my god, is he going to do fucking naked ladies of the world, come, why you wait, come to Paul's boutique, why you wait, you know, like the fucking
Mad
TV.
Janice.
Yeah, but then he literally says to the topless girls. I was like, oh my god, he literally just says it. The topless ladies.
The way you said it doesn't prepare you too, because I forget exactly what he says, but he's just talking and like,
oh my god! Yeah. What's happening?
When Shake Your Rump starts, it's like, oh shit, never mind any of that shit. That shit's done.
Yeah, it feels like you're like, you know, you're coming into this thing, and of course, you're coming to this neighborhood, and of course you want to see, you know, the seedy underbelly, the hot chicks first, so we're about to go to the red light district, and then like, you know, the someone from Tony's Pizza who needs you to be doing the job, he snips you up by the neck and like, hey, what are you doing? We gotta get these orders, you know?
Fucking John Turturro from Do the Right Thing plops down the fucking pizza boxes, and you're gonna make your fucking deliveries.
And then we bounce right into the heart of like, just the insanity.
Ooh.
Oh my god. And they just start going. Like, this track is so insane. And it has like the way it's like, you know, they're just like flowing, doing the things, rapping, and it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like, so, you know, some things are like really cool, and I don't really know if that was cool, but the way you said it was such finesse, who gives a shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like a pimp, I'm pimping, got a boat and eat shrimping, nothing wrong with my leg, I'm just b-boy limping, got arrested at the Mardi Gras for jumping on a float, my man NCA's got a beard like a billy goat, and it's like what? It's like, all right, but then there'll be like one or two lines where it'll be like, and I'll be busting routines and ramming all night, like eating burgers or chicken, you'll be picking your nose.
What? That's how it goes.
What are you talking about? Like eating burgers or chicken, you'll be picking your nose, you know? Like,
with the bad breath onion rings.
Yeah, oh my god, that's a great line. Mike D with your bad self running things. What up with your bad breath onion rings?
And then he just jumps in. Oh, Mike D, I'm back from the dead.
Like, it's such a great, like, you can clearly tell these are friends who joke on each other all the time, and you know what I mean? Like,
shitting on each other. You got a fucking billy goat beard. Oh, your breath fucking smells like onion rings. Yeah, we know. Fuck you. I'm back from the dead.
It's such a different energy of like most rap songs, which is usually like, well, I'm the best guy, and don't you fuck with me. Well, I'm actually the better best guy. You know, it's just like, we're just chilling, we're hanging out, whatever. You know, it's fun. You know, like, yeah, man. And that creamy digital bass line that comes in after the verses. Oh man, it's so insane. This track and the way it just hits you with the energy. Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't know how anyone could hate on this album after hearing the first cut.
I don't get it.
How would you not just blown the fuck away by Shake Your Rump? The song is so fucking dope. And you got the fucking samples, it's the joint, right before the chorus. Oh, come on.
Which also gets sampled in the other album we did.
Oh, shit, did it?
That's the joint, yeah.
Oh my god, there's probably a lot of coincidences I didn't pick up on.
Yeah. And then we get to Johnny Riot.
Johnny Riot, a fucking story track.
Oh man, with that rambling guitar in the background, that tiny little ding ding ding, ding, and it's so insane how it kind of sounds like the homeless guy, kind of like, you know, having a bit of a fit or something like that. You know what I mean? Like the way the music kind of comes out, like with the way it's so janky and sideways, and it's like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's like a story, but it's not really a story. It's more like a character piece where it's like, hey. Yeah, it's like, hey, here's this guy, and, you know, but don't disrespect him. He has his own past, you know, that sort of thing. Like, it's like weird how it gives respect to him in a sort of like, you know, just casual way where it's just like, hey, he's not just some homeless guy. He actually was in a band and he was this like awesome dude or whatever. But then it seems to introduce like this idea of like maybe he wasn't and it's an illusion. Like, did you get that feeling too at the end where it's like Louis Vuitton with the Gucci guitar, Johnny Royale, and you hear the "Who do you think you are?" Yeah, where it's just like, wait, what? Is it like casting doubt on it? You know what I mean? It's just so insane because like, yeah, it brings up sort of like he got a platinum voice, but only gold records. On the bass was Boots, and on the drums was Checkers, and it kind of felt like the sort of like, oh, is he calling to an actual band that he in? But like, well, Chubby Checker and Boots, they wouldn't have been around the same time, but maybe that's just like the name of like the guys that were in their group, or maybe it was like, oh, you know, we did super groups or something like that, and or maybe it's just a delusion. Oh, you wouldn't believe me because maybe some of it was true, or you know what I mean. And like, it just gives you this really weirdly real 3D picture of this character. you know?
He's doing all this. He's flashy. It says he's got hand-me-down Pumas. And then, but then later it says he paid his dues playing the blues. He claims that he wrote the blue suede shoes. Like, well, did he? I don't know.
And then he asked for $1. You know what it's for, man. Bottle after bottle. He always needs more. He's no less important than your working class stiffs. He drinks a lot of liquor, but he don't drink piss. Like, I just love that random, like, hey, show him respect too. He's still a person, you know? Like,
Johnny Royale is a bum on my stoop. I gave him 50 cents to buy some soup. He knows the time with the fresh Gucci watch. He's even more over than the mayor, Ed Koch. Like, everyone loves this dude. Everyone just knows him. He's a fucking character that everyone in town is like, oh, fuck, Johnny Royale. Like, everyone fucking... Like, that's what the chorus kind of sounds like when people see him on the street.
Johnny
Royale! He gives you a wave. He's like, hey, what's up, boys?
Yeah. And then we get Eggman, which just flips it up again.
Eggman.
Just so early in this album, we've already got so many characters.
Now we're just throwing eggs at each other.
Yeah, like...
That's the song.
And it's like this Pusher Man music that kind of starts it off, but then it turns into this goofy 50s horror flick music at the end. It's so fucking cool. God damn, this song.
It has the psycho shower music at the end of it.
It's so goddamn cool.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. Like... What an awesome song. I was like, get out of here, Beastie Boys. What the fuck?
The fucking part where it just sneaks, where it switches up is like, up on the roof, I'm in my car, up all night, I'm going through science like Dolomite.
Yeah.
The Mac, who? I'm the Eggman. Taxi driver? I'm the Eggman. And then just immediately, we all dressed in black. We snuck up around the back. It's like, oh my god.
It's just this high energy roller coaster that just keeps getting faster.
It's such a fun song. So many of these songs are just like goofy, fun shit. Like, License to Ill was goofy too, but in a different way that I just don't like as much.
It was goofy in a very sophomoric, immature way that if you're of that energy, you know what I'm saying? If you're feeling stupid and goofy, or if you're just 12, you know, like you're going to be feeling that. You know what I mean? It's that like dumb guy YouTube energy. But the thing is, you know, that has its place, but it can be kind of one note after a while, right? Like, but with this, it feels like so much more live. Like with this, it just feels like they were the first album feels like they were just in their rooms fucking about and just kind of telling you all their dick jokes. And this one is like hey, let's hang out in the neighborhood and check out and like kick it with some people and really show you, you know, what living with us is like, you know?
Because then we go from like the fun Eggman to High Plains Drifter.
High play, Drifter. I love that the whole fucking time. That kept fucking taking me out, like the way they kept layering it. We're just like, I could listen to this forever.
And just that bow wow, boom, bow wow.
Yeah.
Bow wow, boom,
Oh
bombs.
my god. And this beat is having sex this beat is having such good sex right now. I was like,
yeah,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
right. It just starts moaning and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, what the fuck is happening back there?
And just the way he starts his verse, like, and like, it doesn't really go to a, like, I don't think it really goes to, like, a big story that amounts to much, but it just, like, the way it kicks off, like, pulled over to the river to take a rest, put out a pair of pliers, pulled a bullet out my chest, like, whoa, what the fuck just happened?
I wonder if, because there was a song on the first album where they all kind of play the roles of, like, almost like Old West cowboys.
Oh, like that Paul Revere.
Paul Revere, yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this was like a, was it Paul Revere or Ryman and Steelin'? Fuck, I don't remember. Anyway.
The one where they shoot the piano guy, you know?
Yeah, where they all, like, meet up with each other. It's a song of, like, how the Beastie Boys all, like, how they all met.
Yeah,
but it's all about just, like, they hold each other up at gunpoint, pretty much. It feels like it might be a sequel to that, but not really, because it's, like, in modern times, because he's, like, stealing cars and shit.
Yeah. Kmart shoplifter, you know?
This one is such a detailed story. It's fucking like goddamn Alice's restaurant.
I'm doing 120 plowing over mailboxes, radar detector to tell me where the cops is.
And just the way it ends, he's like, he gets arrested, he gets thrown in jail, he sits there for a while, but he gets out, he goes straight to the OTB, he's betting on horses, he leaves the racetrack with money. He wins a good bit of money. He leaves and then steals the car.
Yeah, and isn't there something where it's just like the mailboxes are still trailing behind him by the end of the verse or something like that?
I think so. I love the way the song ends, too. Brought my ticket to the window and collected my win. Then I broke into my new car with a coat hanger, hot wired, hot wheeled, and then it just plays this Ramones sample as if the radio just kicked on. Susie is a headbanger. It's like, oh my god. The way it incorporated that as, like, environmental noise was so fucking cool.
Then Sounds of Science just fucking kicks things into just a whole other goddamn hemisphere. Like, what the fuck? Like, this sounds like a Futurama song that would play if they were doing, like, a 1920s sort of, like, send-up of a black and white cartoon or something like that. You know, like...
Oh, yeah.
It's so, like, the way the beat is using all these little things that sound like a steampunk engine kind of going, you know what I mean? And the way they're, like, rhyming with, like, now here we're dropping science, dropping out all over, like, bumping around the town when you're driving in a Range Rover, expanding the horizon and expanding the parameters, expanding the rhymes, the sucker FC amateurs. And, like, and it's one of those things, like, they ain't saying any shit, but it just sounds fucking good. Like, I got science for any occasion, postulating theorems, formulating equations. Well, cheat wizard in a snow blizzard, eat a chicken gizzard with a girl named Lizard. Like, what the fuck was that? I don't fucking know. Dropping science like Galileo dropped the orange. And it's one of those things like, I know that wasn't it, but it just feels like they're just fucking with you just to say it. Like, yeah, that's sort of like, am I about to rhyme this thing? But what rhymes with orange? And it was an apple, wasn't it? But I don't know. I just wanted to say it like that, you know?
And we got fucking samples of The End by the Beatles from Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper's, the reprise of Sgt. Pepper's, Back in the USSR from the White Album. I think it's not listed here on who sampled, but I'm pretty sure during the first verse it samples When I'm 64. So many Beatles samples that I'm sure just were not cleared, not even thought to clear.
Yeah, why are you snitching on him, Muse?
I know, well...
they got away with it now. One of them's dead, god damn it. Show some respect, copyright lawyers. It's one of those, holy shit, is this not a 90s song? This isn't like a late 90s Beastie Boys song where it's like, oh, we're so weird and experimental, it sounds like we're on this fucking futuristic rocker going back and forth or whatever the fuck this beat is, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh man, it's so insane. Like I really had to have the moment of like 1989 is the number. Are you serious? You know. And then the way it ends that track and starts with 3 Minute Rule, where it just like sounds like someone's playing ping pong in the background or something.
Oh yeah, and the ball like falls off the table and it's just bouncing away.
It's like we're really in a fraternity, just like.
Yeah, I think 3 Minute Rule ended up getting my lowest rating just because it wasn't like as strong as the other ones.
Yeah.
But
oh my god.
It's so hard to contest against the other songs on here.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's one of those things where like the flow of how they do things matters, and that matters just how they put the words together. Because there'll be a couple of lines, especially on here, where it's just like going on for a while, and it just feels like, are they saying anything? And then it's just like they're not really keeping in the flow. Like that one line where it's just like, people come up to me and they try to talk shit. Man, I was making records and you were sucking your mother's. It was just like
I do love that. I was making records and you were sucking your mama's dick.
But it's just so awkwardly forced that it's like, it messes it up for me, you know? Then we get, hey, ladies!
Oh, get funky. Goddamn, hey, ladies.
And this is one of those tracks where I remember listening to it outside. I remember, like, randomly hearing it, like, you know, out somewhere, hearing it in the wild, and not liking it. Because it's just like, what is it? It doesn't really feel like it. Like, it just keeps moving around in a weird way. Like, I think just without the context of an album, it feels different when you're in the funk of how weird this sound is, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, when I was, like, it was one of those things, like, I remember hearing this music and how it felt, but, like, it feels like it fits more when I'm hearing it on this album now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a fucking enjoyable track. And again, it's like, it's just like a cool-ass time.
Yeah, fucking Hey Ladies is, like, the closest the goofiness gets, and the video is absurd. Hey Ladies is so much fun, and the the transition.
Oh my god! This fucking Hey Arnold ass album that I'm listening to right now, where it's like, oh, we gotta cut over to Wilbur hanging out with his pigs. Oh, what else is going on down the block? Yeah.
These fucking.
Even in the big city, there's always someone who's got like a little farm, you know.
Oh yeah, everyone has fucking chickens in New York. What are you talking about? Yeah. But you just hear this crazy banjo going. They're all just hooting and hollering.
It's like, what the fuck?
The way it cuts off so abrupt into looking down the barrel of the gun is like, oh, Jesus. Which is like easily the hardest song on the album.
Yo, that time sample, the way they put it in, I was like, God damn. Like, that alone was the argument for why sampling is an art. The way they flipped that and already just added an air of grandiosity that would not have been there without that little tinge of that sample being over it. Like, it's like, holy shit.
The one part where it's the combination of the lyrics and the sample where it just goes, looking down the barrel of a gun, son of a gun, son of a bitch, getting paid, getting rich, and then it's just it's like, oh god. The way the guitar just squeals after that, oh Jesus. And this is the song. Nicki biting the Beastie Boys. I'ma die harder than my kid Bruce Willis. Fucking Nicki coming through later with that fucking you the illest.
Oh yeah.
I'ma die hard like Bruce Willis. No. Then we got Car Thief.
Another, like, again, it's like a stream of conscious type of story where it's just like, shit is just happening.
Yeah.
and I think there's a car thief involved. They seem to bring him up. Like, it seems like a guy is just having a, like, fucking weird-ass, like, drug trip. And then, like, was I in the middle of stealing a car? Like, you know? So the lights are flashing, my mind is spinning. I feel like there's always the beginning of another rhyme of rapping. Yeah, like the way they spilled it over in that really clever way of like the self-aware way of doing it, you know?
Just
like I was like, holy shit.
Over.
Yeah. Now, what comes around is the first track where it kind of loses a little bit of steam to me, where it's just like, all right, it's fun, but it's just a little too loosey-goosey with the shit, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
But then it picks right back up again with Shadrach, you jack to go, Shadrach, we dragging to go, this fucking rolling ass, dope ass beat, oh my god.
And here we have like the Abbey Road medley, the fucking B-Boys Bouillabaisse.
Oh man! Can I tell you? Yeah, yo, I'm gonna throw down the gauntlet right now. their end of album medley, blowing it up to do some weird art thing better than the Beatles ones. I'm throwing it down right now. The way it like leads into it with that comfy sounding little sample of that guy, you know, talking like, "Hey, as for Paul's Boutique," like it feels like we really just like walked by there, like, oh, maybe somebody stole like a coat or something like that, you know?
Yeah, the guy over the phone. Which again, Paul's Boutique isn't a real place either. They just fucking made that shit up. No.
I wanted to, god damn it, I wanted to so go to this place, like, man, next time I'm going to New York, I gotta go to Paul's Boutique. What the fuck is that album cover then?
I'm pretty sure they made up that sign that says Paul's Boutique.
No, where's that place then? I've seen it. It exists. I've seen it.
I mean, the building and the street exists. There just isn't a place called Paul's Boutique, unfortunately.
Oh my god!
You can't ask for Janice.
Another bit of New York ephemera and mythos dashed from my hopes.
I assure you, it's still just as ridiculous as you might think. But then again, this is also '89 New York. This is Ed Koch's New York. This isn't Rudy Giuliani New York. This isn't Bloomberg New York. You know, it's definitely a different scene. This is the edge of when people talked about how fucking dirty and dangerous New York was, when it was still a Wild West.
Yeah, this is on the edge of the taxi driver aesthetic.
Yes, yeah, the fucking Warriors bullshit, like...
But man, you still want to go though. It's like, how we might get around, but come on, you can't live your life without going to New York.
You gotta at least check it out.
Oh my god! So when we get into this, Christie Street, all these songs that are just like these, because it has the weird titling, the B-boy Babuya bass, Christie Street. What is a Babuya bass? What is that? What is Christie Street? I don't know. I don't care. Let's go.
The way this, yeah, because it's all these are all like 1 or 2 minute, sometimes not even a minute songs here. They're all just like mini songs in progress that they just whipped together, but they're all so distinctly different.
Yeah, it so works. It's the weirdest thing where you're like, this shouldn't work. This should be like some, and hey, now that the album's done, here's a bunch of Lucy's, but it's like, no, this feels right. Like, it feels like we walked through, it feels like we're getting to the climax of the movie. Like earlier, you know, you have more time to like see the sights and see stuff, and then it's like, now action's happening, we gotta move, and we're going to, oh my god, we gotta get to the show, we only got 15 minutes, but yo, we gotta drop by so-and-so's place to pick up the diamonds. You know what I mean?
Because you got like, in Stop That Train, you got that sample of the Stop.
Yeah, we gotta get on the mitt or the myrrh, or whatever the heck the lure, whatever the fuck that thing is called, to get back into New York.
But they're all so different because then it was just Hello Brooklyn, just that boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and how that. And I thought that was a single or something, right? Because I feel like people sample that all the time.
And then it's just a 1:30 thing, just a little thing.
Yeah, it's just like I thought it was a whole last song. It was like, no, it's just this little part. Like, it just got so built up because I feel like I hear hip hop, like guys, you know, and, oh yeah, Brooklyn, hello, bro. Like, I always hear that part. But then it's just like, yeah, a minute and a half of just fucking around. And one lyric in particular, which made it kind of like, whoa, how has this become such a New York anthem? Where it's like, because they don't know my name, only know my initials, building bombs in the attic for elected officials. Like, whoa.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Holy shit.
Like, what the fuck? Guys, calm it down.
Maybe that's why it didn't take off at first. I don't know.
But
He's sitting in the middle of B-boy bouillabaisse, though. You can easily overlook that.
And the way they ended, like, this is straight up one of those things where it's like, if they play this on the radio, yeah, they need to play all 9 of these fucking tracks. So that's how
oh my god, yeah. The fucking Good Times sample. Good times, good times.
And the way they end it, where it's like, was like, you got a boyfriend and his name is Nick. Annabelle caught him with a strippy lip dick. I ride around town just because my ride is fly. I shot a man in Brooklyn just to watch him die.
Fucking hell. So good. And then we got a fucking Johnny Cash sample on the next one.
Right. Wait,
wasn't that? High and rising.
Oh, yeah. It's true. These weird parallels.
So fucking many.
I think the only song that I did like was Dropping Names, where it was just like, even for the rest of these even around the rest of these tracks, it felt too short.
MIKE on the MIC is only 48 seconds, but it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, but that felt slightly more like a full song. It felt like a more complete idea. What even happened in Drum and Days was just like he does his fist against the post until it says he's got his ghost. He does his fist against the post. And it was like, oh, okay, that was kind of something. And then it's just like. And then it just kind of goes to this other thing about a guy. I'm nicknamed Shan Rockwell. My name is not Jameson. Girl is on the tip because my homie is famous. It's like, oh, okay. But then it has that sample at the end where it has it's like, well, suckers try to bite, then they try to pursue it, and then it samples Bob Marley. It's like, you explain to a musician, them knew it, but them can't do it. It just so fits though, like even for like not liking the song as much, like just the fact of throwing Bob Marley at the end there, it's like, you cheat coded.
I love how many times the songs will just completely throw rhythm and everything out of the window just to pause everything for a sample.
Yes, it's so janky, but in the perfect way. There's one in particular, I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
It's like, no, you're gonna love this. It's like, yeah, I did.
Lay It On Me. Oh my God, another one where it was like, where it just sounded like, we ran back into Johnny Royale again. He's like, fuck it, baby, lay it on me now. Oh, not so hard, man. You hear the drums come, he's like, boom, down. He's like, hey, not so hard, man. Oh, that was so awesome. And then, Mike on the mic. Again, it's like, it's a quick one, but it at least felt like a full verse, you know what I mean? And the way it ended again is like, I keep my friends around so I have someone to talk to. I play my music loud because you know it's got clout to it. And then he just cuts to this random dude. It's a trip. It's got a funky beat, and I can bug out to it.
And I could really bug out to it. Is this really corny voice?
Like you can tell. Yeah, you can tell that was someone's. I mean, I think they said it's like a weatherman or something like that. But it just sounds like someone's like uncle, someone's white uncle who just heard rap for the first time. And he's just like, that's not too bad, Oh man. And then, was it AWOL the last one? Yeah. This is the one where it's like, even though it's really short and it feels like, all right, we finally got to the stage. Yeah, let's rock the house, y'all. Let's rock the house, y'all. Yo, so-and-so, where you at? Yeah, so-and-so, where you at? It was just like, it wasn't even a full song, but it's just because we were going through all of these things, it felt like the... bum of all of it, you know what I mean? Like, they finally made it to the show, everything's gonna be all right, and roll credits, and you get the little thing at the end, to all the girls.
You have to bring it all the way back around.
I was like, oh my God. And then I love that really quick, you liked it? Well, some of it seemed good.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 5.
I gotta give it that 4.5. Okay. Because I can't act like some of the wackiness does get a little too but it's just on the tracks where it's just like the steam kind of runs out a little bit. But it's like,
oh sure.
But it's not even that many tracks. Like I even have to say that, so that's why I'm like, yeah, it's still 4.5, but I can't act like it's not there. But definitely fucking solid as shit.
We're heading on over to RC's request here because we've got De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising, another classic from the year 1989. Right. I think it's kind of a mixed bag, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, right there with you.
And can we just... I think we're going to set a record here for the MC Chris sample with the skits. The skits. Can we just talk about this narrative? Can we talk about this through narrative?
The skits are bad.
You hate the
meandering.
Skits?
I don't like the skits. You're right.
No,
and what the fuck they were trying to... Can we... What they were trying to go for with this? Because look, I know this sounds bad. I know it sounds bad. I do think there is a lot of really, really good shit on here, but we need to address this first because it's how the album starts.
Yeah, they don't let you get around it.
I wrote this down, 1 minute and 41 seconds and not a single joke to be had. I don't know what the fuck this was supposed to be. This is a game show. It's a show called 3 Feet High and Rising. I don't know why it's called that. It doesn't matter. And I guess all the members of the group are contestants on the game show. And
they're Mad TV characters. One's Australian Aborigine.
And they're asked these series of, impossible questions, right?
Yeah, I can't even remember, what the fuck?
And it's like, okay, we're gonna check in with these three and see if they got the answers. and like every few songs, the song will end. I mean, this is the case for the Big Fuck single, Me, Myself, and I even. If you're listening to it on Spotify, you're going to be listening to Me, Myself, and I, and it's just going to end with just like, so do you know the answer to the question? And then the guy just not doing a joke, not doing anything, just kind of doing a voice and going,
Oh, no, I don't. It's like, what? Why? Fucking why? This is
so
funny. Why
That
are
one
you
in-
doing this?
That one in particular, no, I don't. I was like, what is this doing here?
It's like there's no joke. It's not even like, oh, he gets it so ridiculously wrong what the answer is. It's just, no,
I don't.
I don't know. Like, why you specifically had to put this here?
No.
For what reason?
No.
Funny.
No.
I don't understand. It's like this is made just to be like, guys, we got some great music, but we also need to be influential. Does influential need to be good? No, it doesn't necessarily need to be good. It just needs to be something that people are going to imitate. How about annoying shit that wastes people's time in between getting to the music that they actually want? Yeah, brilliant. Let's do it. No one's done that before. Brilliant. Awesome. It's like, why are you doing this? Stop wasting our time. No one cares about this stupid fucking sketch, and they don't even pay it off at the end. They're
There's
like,
no payoff.
if you want the answer, well, if you think you know the answer, put it on a 2x4 card. And I'm like, what? That's what this was all. Get those things out of here.
No fucking way. And I gotta dispute. If you look on Wikipedia, it is like perfect scores across the board. I gotta say, I think it's just because this was different for the time.
Yes.
And people were like, whoa. And I even saw a quote of like, I've never heard a rap album like this before. I could totally understand that.
In 1989 for sure.
Yeah. It's like a little dorky, like... It's goofy, but not in a Beastie Boys way. It's goofy in kind of like almost like a self-deprecation, but almost in just like hey, you know, we're just a bunch of positive guys just being goofballs. And it's like, we've reviewed albums like this
Yeah.
that don't do it as good. Like, Your Fucking Boys come to mind. Ugly Duckling come to mind. Of like people that try to do albums like this, but fall on their fucking face. And even that album had a goddamn through narrative too of like, oh, it's a restaurant that sells cheap food.
I remember when the one good song was at the end. That was actually kind of interesting. Where it's like, hey, this is actually from the perspective of the guy rapping from the vegan version of it or something like that.
Oh
It's
god,
like,
yeah, that's right.
Why did you hide this?
But even aside from the little clips at the end of the songs, there's two songs on here in particular. And I wrote down here for each one, what the fuck is this doing here? Do I rate this? Because I wasn't sure if I should include them or not.
First of all, there's five other skits that aren't even related to that. There's 5 stupid ass, just nothing happening skits. Like the fucking Cool Breeze on the Rocks, where it's like just sampling different people saying rock, and it's like, that's kind of an idea, I guess. Like,
yeah, it was a montage of rock, like the word rock in different songs. It was just kind of like a collage. Like, it didn't really have any flow.
It was like, if that was leading to like a song that was like, oh, sampling a rock song. So it's kind of like, oh, it kind of fits. Like, oh, you want rock? We'll give you rock. Like, just some sort of purpose, some sort of tenuous connection. But it's just kind of like, I just wanted to do that.
And that was the intro to Can You Keep a Secret? And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, which feels like a skit, too. Like, it's just like, so-and-so needs a haircut. Ooh, Mace needs a... And at first, it seems like it's like, oh, are they, like, joking on each other? Like, saying little things like, yo, so-and-so has dandruff. Haha, we're joking. But then they just keep saying, like, oh, everyone has dandruff. So it's just like, oh, so it's not even, like, a joking on people thing. It's just kind of a dumb thing. It's like, okay.
And then Take It Off.
What...
Converse, take it off.
How many layers of clothing is this woman wearing?
Oh God, they go on for so long is the thing. It's like, if they're interludes, they don't need to be this long.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I just really want to have sex with you. Is that what it is? And it's like, you know, I'm not saying they can't
Is
do
that
like.
it?
Yeah, like I'm not saying they can't do sex songs, but man, you have to try. Like, oh my god! And then the just straight up sex skit. I couldn't believe it. 4 years or 5 years before Biggie Smalls, they had a completely fucking unnecessary sex skit. What was this to prove? Like, oh, De La Soul still gets pussy, you guys. Like,
The De La orgy.
Who needed it?
No.
It's like, stop! I don't want to hear you guys having sex.
And that one is an intro, I guess, to Buddy, which is 14 mini verses from De La Soul, the Jungle Brothers, and Q-Tip, which...
And it just goes.
It goes alright. It has some moments to it.
Yeah, some moments. Like Q-Tip has the shining moment at the end where he actually, you know, brings it together. It's like, I could be your boy and you could be my buddy. Like, that's one little joke on the, you know, intellectual property. But just with like, what was it? Oh, I'm remembering, because for the music video, there's like Queen Latifah and Moni Love in it. And I remember liking that version so much better because it feels like things actually switch up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
shit, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, so it's like hearing this version is just like, oh man, it's like hearing the version of All You Need without Mary J. Blige on it. You know, it's just like, oh, I don't want this. I wanted the full version.
So we got The Magic Number, which I loved the Led Zeppelin beat, the Schoolhouse Rock interpolation, the 3 is the magic number. I thought it had some dope bars, but I thought it was kind of sloppy, and a lot of the bars didn't really match the beat, and they were kind of falling out of time.
So much of this is sloppy, and it's in a way where it feels like they're trying and experimenting with flows by like doing like, hey, let's do a halftime flow where we allow more words to be said, but it's like, but you can tell they're just not there yet, so so much comes out clunky, and because they're doing it slower, it feels even clunkier, you know, like.
And that probably sounded really cool, new, and innovative in 1989.
Right.
So people were like, oh shit, I gotta give it cool points. This is different. And it's like, well, yeah, it's just messy though.
Yeah.
I was even less of a fan of Change and Speak.
I like the beat with the funk with the like you really felt the impact of that.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course you like the beat. How are you gonna like the vocals or the lyrics? You can barely hear them.
Yeah.
They were so low in the mix, I could barely hear what the lyrics were. It was so weird. I wrote down that at this point, it sounded like a first draft album that needed a look over. Like someone needed a proof listen this, because it feels like the first song's messy. It's out of time. This one, I could barely hear what anyone's saying. Then we just get Cool Breeze on the Rocks and Can You Keep a Secret?
You put all this fucking time into these fucking half-ass songs. It's like, maybe you should have put that time into finishing the songs that were actually songs, huh? How about that, guys?
You know the Hank Hill meme where he has the headphones on and he's just like staring ahead and his mouth's open? That was me. I'm sitting here listening to this and I seriously was like, oh no, does this album suck? And I just forgot? But honestly, overall, I still think it gets a passing grade, but we just haven't got to any of those yet.
Man. Yeah, it takes a second.
It really takes a minute to get moving, because,
oh man, then there's
I wasn't even really that big on Jennifer Taught Me either.
No,
Jennifer,
sir. Yeah, sorry, I said Jenny because it's spelled awkwardly.
The first verse, like they all say it different. The first verse just goes Jennifer, and I was like, but then the second one was like Jennifer, Jenny, and I'm like, okay, that's an improvement, like over the other one.
And what the fuck was up with the? You don't get pussy like a dude named Derwin, and
then you hear Derwin playing chopsticks.
Halfway, okay, it was like okay for a second to be like, oh yeah, Derwin does kind of sound like a doofy name. Like I can imagine that guy doesn't get laid. Apparently, it is a reference to a real friend they had.
It's Ricky Powell all over again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, rap was so regional that they just assumed you would know about these people. Anyone who's listening to this probably knows who we are. You know, I think
know
that's how
Derwin.
Yeah, but then it just comes like, hey guys, let's listen to Derwin play chopsticks. And I'm like, guys, what are you doing? And that's not the end of the song. No, let's get back to the song anyway. I'm like, what?
It went on for a little too long, but I honestly did think it was a kind of funny diversion.
Just the fact that they put a skit in the middle of the... Like, if it had any relevance, then it would be fine. But it just felt like the album's just overflowing with skits.
I was gonna say, not enough skits. We need even more? No.
I put a skit in your skit so you could listen to a skit.
You're right.
And there's even on the single, Jennifer Taught Me, and also another song called Derwin's Revenge, which isn't on the album. And I don't know what it is. I didn't listen to it. But I was just
Jaws theme? What the fuck?
Y'all are pushing this Derwin character. Like, he's supposed to be the fucking... he's the mascot of the group.
Right, yeah.
Here is where I think we finally start cooking with some grease.
Yes, the fucking Ghetto Thing.
Ghetto Thing is the first really good song on the album. Which is funny, because it's like, they're this positive, upbeat group. And here's the song where it's like, now we're going to talk some real shit for a second. It was like, oh shit, okay.
And it actually hits, like, their flows are working with, like, the bass line groove in a way that's like, whoa, this actually sounds like a lot more modern than you would be expecting.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy.
So they're out here talking about all the pitfalls of the black community and all the things that are making it hard, and
though confident they keep it kept, we know for a fact they lie like ghettos form because people lack to see that they must get all out of the ghetto hole, that the truth they never told because it's just a ghetto thing. But like, I love, like, they're actually giving a little bit of commentary, like, oh, they're acting like we're just in the hood because people are just lacking. It's like, no, there's a specific reason that the disproportionate amount of black people are living in this poor neighborhood. It didn't just happen that way. You know what I mean? Like, that slavery thing happened, and then there must have been some sort of business in between there. You know.
I did have to quote, though, this, what Genius considered a fun fact. De La Soul's hometown of Amityville, New York, Long Island, is considered a middle-class suburb. Well,
like, look,
you know.
Hey, you could be black and going to school with people who are like, oh yeah, I know some people that are from da-da-da, my cousins are da-da-da. Like, you know what I mean? You ain't gotta be
You can still talk some real shit, even if you're not exactly in the middle of it. You know, you're still bringing awareness.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine.
And I think it would be worse if it felt like contrived, which it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, especially if it was like judgy.
Yeah.
Like, then it would have been kind of like, hey, you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get out the like, that would have been big eye roll. But, you know, I thought that song was really strong.
Yeah, I think it did a good job of like really illustrating that in a realistic way that felt like, oh man, you're giving us the real, and it doesn't feel cheesy, and it doesn't feel like a lesson song. It feels like, no, here's an honest song about some shit, you know?
I liked I Know a little bit. I did like the Steely Dan sample, I know I love you better.
I was talking real quick about the transmitting live from Mars.
I must have skipped that.
Where it's
I didn't write that down. What is that?
It's just some speak and learn French or something like that, and it's just like, come on, see if we play, and Ilya something, and it was like, oh my god, I don't care. I don't fucking care. Why is this happening? Why are you wasting my time with this? Why is this here, guys? Transmitting live from Mars. There's no French people on Mars. What's the point? What's the joke? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But yeah, I Know is actually a really fun love song. We finally get another. We pushed through the muck and grime, and we actually got a couple of like legit. Oh hey, sounds like a single right here. Yeah, I know I love you better. I love how fun and playful this is. I like how I actually think the halftime flow really works in this. And I like this. You hear a little whistling happening. Like, you know, it's just kind of like, wow, this is like a carefree, just fun sounding ass joint, you know? Yeah, like, it's one of those, like, oh, I could imagine someone playing this day and be like, oh, when did this come from? This just sounds like a sort of, like, timeless, sort of fun little groove. And I love the fun little lyrics here, like, coming to my bed is the mood. Dolby sound will then be top crowned when I put the needle into your groove. Like, I just love okay.
Oh, shit.
You know? Like,
that was good.
This song, which is them being fun and, you know, daisy picking dorks or whatever, this song had a lot more sexual funness to it, I think, and at least like having a bit of subtlety, and that can be sexy in its own way. You know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, a little bit of a lyric, but I'm just telling you about a great time we're having. It's like, oh, that's for the ladies right there. I'm feeling that. And then just to go to the stupid take it off, and then later on the dumbass fucking, ooh, let me show you we're having sex, sexity sex, and it's just like, guys, come on. Like, you actually had me earlier when you held back. Yeah, it felt, that felt insecure, like, well, we still gotta show that. I mean, we can't be like gangsters because we know we're not that, but we can show them that De La Soul fucks, like.
Yeah, I liked, or at least from what I remember, I also haven't listened to it in a while, the De La Soul is Dead album, where the album itself is like a tipped over pot. And it's hey, we're turning the whole perception of our group as, the Daisy guys.
Yeah, we're doing black and white music videos now.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit harder of an edge. It's like, I don't know if that was necessary, really. Like,
I mean,
I guess
when
y'all hated being pigeonholed. I get that.
And also, especially when you just look at, like, that quick crossover between, like, 91 and 93 of, like, no softcore shit of any sort anymore.
Oh, yeah. Now it all has to be hard.
It was like MC Hammer, Kid and Play, like they all fell victim to the, like, I guess we gotta be gay. Tupac is out now, so I guess we gotta be gangsters now,
It's like all the metal groups trying to be grunge when Nirvana came out.
Oh, no. Well, we all gotta get our flannels on and pretend that we're 24 years old,
Now, I thought a little bit of Soap was a better attempt at what they were going for here.
Yeah, it's a breather of a track,
Little short songs. I thought it was okay. They still needed to tack on the fucking game show thing.
Yeah, and I did like that little how they had the Stand By Me beat working in there. Do. Like, I thought that was really cool. But it was one of those things
a really
where, like,
fun little catchy song. Yeah, a little tune.
But it was annoying me. He's like, why couldn't this be longer? And honestly, if that's just what this is, like, I can just listen to If You Must by Del the Funky Homo Sapien, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is so nothing of a track. Oh, you stink. It's just like, okay. That's such like a fucking third grader of a joke, like, of a concept. Yeah. Like, oh, we're gonna make a song about how people stink. At least, like, Del the Funky Homo Sapien went all the way with it, being like, the dude had one dread with fungus. He used to, plunge people's toilets with plunges. This is a guy no one would want to tug. Yeah, some guys took a cue from this little number. Like, he really went in on it.
I think Tread Water, Potholes in My Lawn, and Say No Go are all really strong cuts.
Okay, I think they're cool, but I feel like there's just one or two things that keeps bothering me about all of them. And it keeps, like, pulling me away. Like, Tread Water, as much as I want to enjoy it for what it is, like, just hearing someone who just sounds like they're halfway through a glass of water constantly saying, Tread Water.
That was gross.
Yeah,
I did hate that.
The whole time.
I did not need that guy. Yeah, I agree. I forgot about that until you reminded me. Thank you. Stop that.
I did really like the really weird abstract story about meeting different animals and that they're just talking to them, and like that weird sort of kid abstract sort of like, wow, that you wouldn't hear this on like a song other than a rap song at this time, like, let's experiment with like a weird sort of, I don't know, I'm talking to animals, sure, why the fuck not? Like, we can go wherever we want. It doesn't all have to be hardcore gangster shit, like, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, like, we were talking on Ghetto Thing, that was like okay, this is the serious song. Tread Water was the really good mix of we're talking some real shit,
right?
But the song's also going to be kind of silly. Yeah. But I thought it melded really well.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of what they can do. Yeah,
and I thought Potholes in My Lawn was along those same lines. But what was your issue with that one?
It's just a confusing, like, metaphor or whatever it's supposed to be.
Lawn.
Like, oh, these guys keep making potholes in my lawn, and I need to leave a trap so I can see where they're leaving the potholes by stealing my lines, by stealing my lyrics. It's like leaving potholes in my lawn. I'm like, huh? Like, it just feels a little contrived, like they didn't really have it, like they had an imagery idea, but they didn't really have how it was supposed to be a clever line, like.
I take it you've never had potholes in your lawn, RC.
I mean,
That's where the relatability factor falls through.
I guess, yeah. It is their suburban neighborhoods, and they had the little mini farms, and they were like, "Oh, these darn gophers." It kind of reminds me of when people bite my rhymes. I guess. Like maybe if they had played,
that is a one-to-one comparison. Yeah.
Maybe if they had played into it more, like earlier. Oh, they got the animals. Maybe on this one, it's like, "Oh, I'm tired of these foxes. Swipe or no swiping my rhymes." You know, like.
Yes.
I just think they could have played into it a little bit more. That it felt like they just kind of like they just didn't finish really having fun with the metaphor. You know what I mean? I
agree.
Now I do have to say I did like the hook and the backbeat with the yodeling. That actually really fucking fit.
Oh my god!
Like that was actually really fucking cool.
Yeah, that's that and the jaw harp are Parliament samples.
Yeah, that's what I saw, and I was like, this feels like one of those things that someone would hate on them for, like, oh, look at these motherfuckers using yodeling in the rap. It's like, but it's Parliament, fuck you guys, you know?
And George Clinton has come out publicly and been like, I do not mind if people sample my shit to make something new. I'm all for that. So Clinton would approve. It's okay.
But just sampling such a unique thing, like not sampling, you know, the millionth Atomic Dog, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, God, yeah. We don't need that. And typically, I'm not one for anti-drug songs. But I thought Say No Go was really fucking catchy. I think...
This is another one to me that I feel like kind of ran out of steam halfway through. And it was like one of those things where like I could kind of tell it was an anti-drug song, but just like at certain part, like believe it or not, forms they're being too weirdly abstract and overwriting their lyrics. You know what I mean? Where I could hear, you know, where it's just like, believe it or not, the plot forms a fee more than charity, but the course doesn't coincide with the ride of insanity. What? Huh?
I actually thought Say No Go and a song we'll say later are my two favorite songs in the whole thing.
I thought it was fine. Like I did like the little bit, but again, it feels like it just takes a little longer to get to it. But when he's just like, run me a score from the Funky 4+ for more. It's the joint. Rewind that back. This is the age of a new stage of a fiend. Watch how the zombies scream. It's the crack. Like I kind of like that. Like I see where he's flipping it. Yeah. You know. So it's not like I'm saying it's completely like it just feels like it, and even like I just felt like I should have liked this more because it's sampling like a group that I really like. You know, fucking I can't go for that. I love that song. So it's like that's one of those tracks. Like I don't care if somebody does sample, I'm gonna like it. But I just remember when I first heard it being like, it's not really pulling me along, and then coming back to it again, like hearing it like years and years ago, and being like De La Soul is one of those groups where like, oh, they're weird and abstract, they're doing something different. And I felt like I should have automatically gravitated to them. But I just felt like I never really did because like the certain tracks that I hear, other than, of course, the big monster track that initially like brought me into them, it felt like they're just playing around too much. You know what I mean? And in a way that's like, A Tribe Called Quest is like, oh, I know those are goofballs and they're like just having fun. But like De La Soul just feels like there should be a little bit more concentration there, and there isn't, because I hear other songs where they do sound like they're really doing something, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, oh god, okay, you guys are really onto something here, you know? And so it just feels like they're experimenting and it pays off sometimes, and other times you know what I mean? And that's really what it is. It's like a Gorillaz deal where it's like you enjoy them for the personality and the fact that they are taking, you know, a go for it, but it's not always gonna land, and I'm not sure they're really trying that hard half of the time anyway, so maybe just have fun. But it's such a weird thing because it feels like you're supposed to respect them with, oh, De La Soul, you know, they've got such a different image, like they kind of doing things differently. But then when I hear some of these songs, I'm like, that's not really as focused as I thought it was going to be. Like the song that I reviewed and I remember getting a lot of backlash for was the ego tripping or something like that. And I remember it being a thing where I was like, before I'd heard the song and having that feeling of like, oh, well, it's going to be De La Soul, ego tripping. Oh, what are they going to talk about? And then it's like, it's just kind of weirdly abstract, and I don't really know what they're talking about. And it was like the fact that people thought that they were specifically dissing Tupac. It's like, well, because they were being so like not specific, that it was like, well, yeah, well, you just had a music video with a bald dude in it, and it kind of looks like that music video. So yeah, I can imagine people are gonna get mad. You know what I mean? Like because they're just being too abstract and fucking around instead of like really focusing on something, you know. And I guess it's weird to say focus on your abstractness, but some of the abstractness just kind of comes off like amateur poetry night, you know, like that's the thing I think we're dancing around a lot of this, you know. And so when they are acting like goofballs, like another quarter of the time, it begins to feel like, wait, should I even be taking the poetry thing? And it makes it feel even sillier. It's like, yeah, that was kind of goofy the way you were doing that. And it wasn't really as, measured and done well. So it just feels like a lot throws you off in terms of like tone and how you're supposed to take this stuff seriously, Then there was Do As De La Does, which has a line where, and I wasn't sure if he was saying this, but it was at least something. Where it's just like, if you got a German, let me hear you say, ow.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I guess that was what it would sound like if you had a German.
I suppose, yeah. This one ends really weird.
If you got doo-doo in your pocket, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I think somebody in the background says, you are doo-doo.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Pop Master Height is...
What the fuck?
It was really jarring to me because I think the album, language-wise, was kind of clean, too. I don't think they really cursed too much on the album.
Yeah.
But then out of nowhere, there's this character who sounds like fucking Andrew Dice Clay going, hey, De La Soul, you fucking lasagna heads. That's better than my mama's lasagna. Hey, come on. That was freaking A, man. I really want to take it back home with me, I really get into your fucking music. It's so excellent. Ah, you big sconzy heads. De La Soul, so fucking great.
You pasta fazools.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
I felt like literally like I just got like a badly animated 80s cartoon of a Italian Guido dude looking at me. Like it literally felt like that. Yo, someone looking like Paul Williams with the hair and shit. Yo, I dig your fucking Moulin music. Yo, like it's like, why is this happening?
I was just like, I could easily see this going in a racist direction.
Yes, exactly.
What's going on here?
And it's like one of those things like they're pointing the camera, but the camera's like a little shaky as they're like looking at the guy. It's like, yo, I love your fucking music. I don't get you black people, but it's cool.
He's yelling and you're trying to get away. You're like, yes, thank you. Let me get the fuck out
Where
of
the camera's
here.
like awkwardly in your face, like a do the right thing montage where they're showing all the racist people,
Just a little too close.
And yeah, it's another one where it ends with do you have the answer? No. It's like, scrap this. Who thought
this?
Who needs no. And then plug tuning. Last chance to comprehend. And I was really like, I don't know what we're supposed to be comprehending.
Yeah, I just wrote, we're back to the just okay stuff.
And it's like stuff where it's like, it feels like really like art school rap.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I mean? They're like, yo, I'm trying to get these lyrics.
Hey, yo, what the fucking De La Soul, eh?
I'm rapping with the twist of lyricism in the mist, and it just feels like you're not communicating an actual idea. You're just saying stuff, like.
Oh yeah.
It's that sort of feeling. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find these lyrics like. Flock to the preacher called pause. Let him be the stir to the style of your stew. Sit while the kid of the plug form aroma. Then grab a daisy to sip your favorite brew. Letting the soul fire be at your fire. But don't let the kick drum stub your big toe. See that the 3 will be your thread. But like the man Chuck D said, what a brother know. What did that communicate at all?
What a brother know. You've heard it. We all heard it.
It's just like, what? Negative noise will all be divided. Dangerous to dance. Postanus. What are these guys' names? We hadn't talked about that. It's just their names. True Goin the Dove, which is yogurt spelled backwards, and then Posdanus, which is supposed to be sound pod backwards, but that's not how you would spell it backwards. It's like, and then, these guys are on some different shit. Wow, you're really communicating a different energy. You're like, my name is yogurt spelled backwards. That is a different energy than what's happening in the rap game in the late 80s. Rappers aren't even acknowledging yogurt.
Not a single yogurt reference to be had.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's just like a bit of overwrapping, which feels like it's trying to impress you with it when it's not, It's that sort of thing. It's like, if you're actually going somewhere with a thought and you're actually having like a cohesive, I'm actually saying this and going to this, and along the way I'm dropping some funny lines. That's clever because like, oh, I'm following you along with the actual thoughts, and then you're saying cool stuff throughout. But this just feels like, you know, the cleverness is just supposed to be in how I'm doing this thing that's not really saying anything any clever, but I'm just overly pontificating, saying a really simple idea, you know? And then De La Orgy... What in the hell?
No.
And it makes the next song even less respectable. Like, yeah,
it's just like, I'm really not excited for this now.
Yeah. And then Description.
I don't know why this came so late in the album.
Yeah. It's like, here's what we are, and here's every single person. And
here's what we're all about. Like, oh, okay, cool.
And then China and Jet. With their little mini verse, which I found out. Okay, so you know, just to give it a little tell, like, you know, the Me, Myself, and I song is all about how, like, oh, everyone labels us as like we're just these hippies, but we're not that. We're something more than that. Da, da, da. And then I'm like, wait, you had, because I looked this up, China and Jet were De La Soul's backup dancers who had a habit of throwing flowers into the crowd at their shows, reinforcing the hippie image that they would attempt to reject with their next album. And I'm like, what? You have they're throwing daisies into the, like, come on, you're bringing this on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, I thought it was like, oh, they're putting that on them just because their music sounds very flowery. It's like, oh, that's messed up. You can't do that to them because they
and
can
you got daisies on the fucking album cover.
Yeah, it's like, well, then what are you expecting? Like, you know?
How dare you label us with the thing we put on our own album cover.
Right, like, at least have something where you're, like, putting a flower in a gun or something like that, you know what I mean? In the barrel of a gun to be like, hey, we're you know, we're for peace, but peace is strong, too. You know, like, maybe something like that, right? Like, you know, isn't that the image of the hippies, like, putting the flower in the gun to be like, oh, peace is stronger than war? You know, at least, like, bring it back to a message, but they just kind of have those there. Guys, imagine being at their show and just getting pelted with a flower. Like, this isn't actually as cool as I think you guys think it is. Like, I get the image of doing it is cool, but like, it's actually still like moving through the air and hitting someone.
But yeah, Me, Myself, and I don't know what this was doing this late in the album either.
Oh my god! I was like, guys, put this earlier.
Really snuck in under the wire.
And it so has a different energy than everything else, because almost everything else they're doing is like this halftime rapping where it's like kind of the delivery is kind of labored, and so it's taking longer to get to what they're saying. And they're kind of doing that here, but because the beat is faster, like, you just get to it more, so the energy is so much more enjoyable. And like, to me, this track is fucking evergreen. Like, it still hits me with the same pop as I remember hearing as a kid when I first heard this song. You know, when you're a kid and like it's the 90s, but you still kind of see stuff in the 80s as like the way things are, you know, because that's just kind of the last thing that happened, you know. That's the last like established way things are sort of thing, you know what I mean? And so I remember seeing like, yeah, those guys are like rejected and they get kind of like this, but like, you know, they're their own guys, like, you know what I mean? Like, it still carries that energy, even though there is 3 of them. So I was always kind of like, yeah, it's just me, myself, and I, and my 2 other friends, but but you know, it's still fucking gold. It's still fucking gold, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's really no touching this one. Iconic sample for the fucking beat.
Like, even their dumb inside jokes that are on here, like, it doesn't affect... Like, that's what I realized. I was like, they keep talking about, like, Dan Stuckey and the phrase of this phrase of speech that I'm doing or something like that. And it's like these things that, like, are, like, clever by half. Where they're like, oh, it's like our metaphor for rapping, my pattern of speech. And it's just like that. Just say rapping. Like, it's not that clever, guys. You know?
It's clever divided by 3.
Yeah. But even then, like, you're still just enjoying the flow of the rhythm over this track so well that it still fucking works, you know what I mean? And the music video is fucking iconic, you know?
This is a recording for Living in a Full-Time Era. I really like this one, too.
Yes, but I needed to remind you that this is a recording. This is a recording.
This is a recording.
This is a podcast recording.
This was not live.
It so pissed me off when I heard that sample the first time because my brain immediately went like, they're not going to keep playing that, are they?
This is a recording.
Yep. I was like, I know.
What really annoyed me is that it says living in a full-time era, parentheses, life.
Life.
It's living. You can't put the word in the acronym.
These so unclever things that they do. Like, oh, the daisy age. What is the daisy age? Well, it's the inner sound, y'all. What?
No. No.
DNA is already... that's not how it works.
Y'all can't be in it. That's cheating.
Yeah, like, I get how you're trying to be clever with, oh, it's duh. It is the first time. But if it's the daisy era, then it's the daisy era.
There was a wrestling stable called The Union in the late 90s, which is ironic because they won't let wrestlers unionize.
Oh,
no! But it was these 4 dudes who range in coolness.
The coolness varies.
You've got Mick Foley, aka Mankind. He's dope. He's a hardcore legend. He's cool. You got Big Show. You know, he's there. He's he's kind of green, but he's there. Okay, you got Ken Shamrock
of the crew.
Ken Shamrock is this ultimate fighting guy. He's a fucking badass. It's like, okay, that's cool. And then you just got this guy Test, who's just kind of there, and he's wanting to marry Vince's daughter, but Vince's daughter is like, oh no, my brother won't let me.
They wanted him to pop, but it's not happening.
It ain't happening. But so they're called the Union, and it also stands for Union. Wait. Union of people you ought to respect, son. Which, if you're wondering, stands for Up Yours.
Every villain is living to that a criminal regiment of nasty young men. Oh man, I can do anything thealrapcritic. Oh man, this dumb fucking... I can hold 2 pieces of doo-doo in my hand. Get this out of here.
See, I thought thealrapcritic was catchy. I just wish they would have done something more with it.
Yes, like just have it go somewhere. It's so like were they just not expecting people to listen to most of this or something? Like...
They're gonna check out after Me, Myself, and I. That's what they were all waiting for. It doesn't matter what else we do after this.
But now, Daisy Age. I actually really like... This is them doing an innovative sort of like rhyming style where the pattern is like this inverted rhyme where the rhymes are like at the start and at the very end of the rhyme couplets, like, you know, measure wise. Because they start with paragraph, president preaching about the one tech known as the one step and take a bow, Amityville. Resident. And it's like, oh, cool, like paragraph, president is, you know, that was the rhyme at the beginning and now the rhyme's at the end. Like, that's actually a really cool fucking thing. I actually remember as a kid, like, coming up with, well, thinking that I came up with something like that where it's like, oh, I'm gonna, like, flip a rhyme and do something different, you know? And so it's interesting to hear, like, other people, you know, being like, oh, hey, how about we, play with where we're supposed to put the rhymes and really, like, make you hear it in a fun way. And, like, it doesn't make for, like, the best to like listen through or whatever. Like it's not like the most breezy listen, but it's just interesting to hear like, oh, that's what they're doing. Like with the sun, ceiling connects to the sun burning inside and like everyone on the side, plugified side 1 million demonstrates of her like I thought that was really cool, you know what I mean? And then there was a plug tuning, which is on the 12-inch version only apparently, but I listened to it because it's apparently like their first song, like it's like the first one that they recorded.
Yeah.
And it's, again, like, the same way I felt about Potholes in My Lawn. So many songs by De La Soul where it's like, oh my god, this is a classic song. And then I go listen to it and I was like, that was fine. Like, you know, I hear the promise. If I heard this in 1988, I'd be like, ooh, yeah, I wonder where these guys are going. And it's like, you hear it pay off in little bits and moments, and it's one of those things where like, no, I definitely don't want to, you know, be like, oh, fuck these guys because they were doing good enough. Because like I hear, they're like, ooh, they're trying, but it's just like I can't act like I'm not hearing what I'm hearing, you know.
I don't remember if I liked it better or not than the album version.
plug tuning, potholes in my lawn, like a lot of the tracks just sort of come off to me as like, art school rap first drafts where it's just like, hey, isn't this a cool idea of doing with this? Is like, yeah, but this needs to be refined. Like when you're like in art school, you came up with a clever idea, but like you still need to make me care that I'm listening to it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Overall, what did you come out with?
I got a 3.
Yeah, I got a 3 as well.
Yeah.
It sucks to say, and I mean, I still like De La Soul is still like a legacy group, and I think if we go through their other albums, I think they definitely do get better, like inevitably get better, especially as they go into like the 2000s. These are the roots, the plug like flower roots that they have. I just imagine, especially with the last song, that I just imagine old 1930s animation with plugs that look like they're in flower pots, like that kind of look like flowers. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if they would have played into that sort of weirder imagery, I think I would have enjoyed it more. But they just keep bringing up shit about flowers and plugs, but they never really like do anything with it. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
It just feels like a bunch of inside jokes that it's just like, you don't know what we're talking about. Fuck you. I so want to go back to specifically late 80s, early 90s aesthetic. There's just something about that that's really cool.
We got to bring back the fisheye lens at the very least.
Yeah, right at that, not before it gets too cynical in the late 90s, right? When it's still,
right.
You know what I mean?
When the irony takes over and we can't tell if anything's genuine anymore. No.
Yeah, when it's still fun and people are willing to experiment and be goofy and stupid.
Yes.
And the music videos are cheap, but they're creative because they're like, oh, hey, here's a thing nobody's seen yet, so let's just show that little visual effect, like...
We can't just get Drake and Future doing a goofy music video. Like, that can't be the most we get, right? And I know there's people who aren't as mainstream doing more creative stuff out there, but y'all aren't getting, the promotion and the exposure y'all should be getting, You aren't being seen on as big of a stage as a Drake and a Future.
And it's a damn shame.
Representing the genre, yeah.
Yeah, that's why for this podcast we try to put on for the stuff that's not necessarily getting the spotlight right now. That's why we do these throwback requests of our own shit, as well as taking your requests, the stuff that doesn't get as much love. You, the people, we take the power from the rich and give it back to you, the people. You know what I'm saying?
The people, yes.
So, if you want to request something for us to review, or your indie joints, because you got something to prove, and you're like, hey, man, you got to throw this on. We're the new digital underground version of, like, back in the late 80s, and they were like, hey, man, you gotta play this record, man. You gotta play this record, man. We gotta go into the DJ booth and bang on the thing until they listen to it and give it a chance. Well, you know what? If you want to do that for us, we can do that for you. Head on over to Ko-fi.com/going off and get it in, bro.
But yeah, man, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, man, we really went
we haven't done a long recording in a minute, so I'm just like, oh boy.
This is podcasting.
Oh no. Well, now it's definitely time to wrap it up. But,
having a topic, talking about it, going off into different directions.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick. we gotta tell you gotta make sure you're following us on Twitter and Patreon and Ko-fi. And we're all over the place. Fan House, the Riffcoms Fan House. I'm not really posting anything on there right now, but if you want to support me, that's a good way to do it. You can also support me on Patreon and Ko-fi.
And get all the exclusive content that's over there. That's right. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I mean, there is over 300 exclusive videos on the Riffcoms Fan House to go back and check out. And we occasionally post some behind the scenes videos like setting up and the conversations we have before the videos actually start, and sometimes the stuff at the end. We're just kind of like tearing everything down and just kind of goofing. So you can see those at fanhouse.app/riffcoms. And I know you're holding it down with your streams.
Oh, of course. Patreon.com/rapcritic. First of all, if you want to see episodes early, because I'll be posting those up, as well as my movie podcast and the Discord where you can chat with me and fellow fans. We'd be, shooting the shit, playing video games. We were playing this rap video game. I'm not sure if I mentioned that last time, where you have to come up with a verse. Like they give you a random prompt and you have to like write a verse with the rhyme. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah. So come through. We play that every now and again. Try to give people an incentive to come kick it with your boy. And of course on my personal Ko-fi, if you want to request a movie or a music video or a music stream on my twitch.tv/rapcritical, where we be listening to the music's over on StationNet, so I don't get in trouble with the copyright lords, and and also it is like, hey, it's a legitimate listen. You can come through and listen to it over here. You know what I mean? So it's like being multi-dimensional with the multimedias or whatever, and also staying out of legal trouble. And and because the streams, they'll really get on you if they hear something. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, we don't play that shit. We know motherfuckers be playing music in the background and shit. So I'm like, okay, I play by your rules. So yeah, we do it like that, and that way you get uninterrupted my thoughts on tracks and stuff like that. We go through the Billboard's Top 100, as well as I'll take requests for like best of an artist or best of a producer. I've been doing that lately. Recently I did a best of like Timbaland, where I was like, all right, what's his best beats, and so just an excuse to listen to a whole bunch of dope ass 90s shit.
We talked about this whole album. We didn't even shout out Prince
Oh,
Prince Paul killed it on De La Soul's album.
Definitely.
Hell yeah.
Game to production.
Do a fucking Prince Paul stream.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yo, that would be there would be a lot to do. Hey, look, you can make the request, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Hit up that Ko-fi.com/rapcritic.
I'm just giving y'all ideas here.
But yeah,
this would be a fine place to start. Dust Brothers, we talked about them. I mean, come on.
And we do, like I said, we do lots of types of streams. Best of an artist. I'm doing a thing where like I do the Billboard streams, but I also am trying to do other things like, best of just rap from a certain year, or best of my personal favorite artists, or like I said, sometimes we were requesting what you call it? Someone requested like, hey, what do you think of best of a genre or something like that? And I was like, oh, okay, I could do like what's my favorite new metal cuts? You know what I'm saying? We can have a good time. So get with it, act like you want it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's all of our. Oh yeah, give us 5-star ratings on the thing, right? We got to say that to be professional podcast people. Rate us 5 stars and tell your friends, arm yourselves with knowledge.
And for Going Off, we will see you next time. But until then, I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic. And it's Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Yeah, you get it?
Yep.
Oh, you see, because wait, let me explain. It's very clever.
No, I think. I think.
the sarcastic laugh. the credulous laugh. I think your cleverness is getting through to the people.
RC, I think.